Okay, so this is a need statement presentation from the Purple team. This is our team. We have Luis from Biotech, Michaela from Veterinary, Flavio from Biomed, Ty and me from Medicine, Antoniella from Pharmacy, and Alexandre from System Analysis. So our top need was a way to register data of antimicrobials consumed in livestock to increase supervision and regulation of veterinary practices. What did we think about the need? The quantity of antibiotics used in livestock is vast and often includes the same medicines that are important for humans. So what it means is that in livestock they're using the same medication that we are given. And surveillance is the foundation of infectious disease management. So looking at how many antibiotics are used in livestock, we can manage those diseases and we can manage the antimicrobial resistance. About the need. This map shows the antibiotic use in livestock. We can see that in Brazil, it is not that big of an usage when we compare it with Europe, at least. This is a website that made is estimative by looking at if we use 50 milligrams per kilogram of meat, we would have reduce in 64% of meat consumption. And what we see is that Brazil would be below that level. So we would be kind of okay compared to other countries, but it doesn't mean that we have to keep the antibiotic use at the rate that we're in.
So the practice of livestock has increased because farmers was concerned about health of animals. So there was the increase of the use of antibiotics too. So the resistance has coming from that. The existing solutions. There is a monitoring system from Denmark. It's called VetStat that has a system of cards, yellow cards for producers that pass the limit of the use of the antibiotics. So they receive a card when they pass the limit. Innovet, it's a partnership between UK government and IDRC for product development in resistance.
This product development, the incentive that they put was from $23 million.
And there is a program recent that is from MAPA, AgroPrevine, that makes market interventions in resistance. The potential stakeholders are the farmers, rural properties, MAPA, the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock and Food Supply, Health Ministry, and Anvisa. Well, what's the market analysis? The consumption of antibiotics from Brazil in livestock farming is very high. So, Europe has already adopted systems of strategies, or simply cut the use of antibiotics, like the system I already showed to you of Denmark. Our target audience is farmers, and our potentially investors are the government. That is it's a difficult of us of making this need.
Okay, so when we looked at our need criteria, what we thought about was the must-have would be a system that would be easy to use, because a lot of it would be multi-person beneficiary. So a lot of different people would be needing to use it. So it would have to be very easy, very intuitive. It would need short and long-term results because we need something that, as Michaela said, is the government. And that makes it very difficult for us to think about an immediate result and a reward system. And we have to integrate all of that. So what we would must have is an integrated database so that we could do the epidemiological analysis of a lot of different farmers, a lot of different producers, so that we will understand who would be using the antibiotics, the quantity from a lot of different places, not only just one database. What would also be nice to have is mobile support because it would make it easier for the usage.
Our top solution is strengthening antimicrobial resistance prevention and control antibiotics usage in agriculture. What's feasible? Epidemiological studies enables them, strengthening the implementation of infection prevention and control measures, promotion of the rational use of antimicrobials and their resistance by promoting audit and create a ranking for the farmers, like where is the farmer that use the less antimicrobials. So the next steps to research for need and our solution. Adherence of producers, like giving them a benefit of this program, this platform. The real impact in livestock, we need to make more research on that. We also need decreased involvement of the government and short-term solutions.
So what we really thought about, what we really need to think is how can we make the tool to be something that farmers would want to use so that we wouldn't need to put the government involvement that soon. So you would have to have those short-term solutions, and that's our main problem right now. But we're very confident that this is a tool that has a lot of promise and a lot of people who would like to see it coming to reality. And thank you.
Right. The idea is very interesting, and put back the mid statement, please. It seems really like a governance solution type of thing. And then we have to think some things. You will have one client, and if this client says no, your product is stuck forever. So it's risky, it's a huge client. Again, Brazilian government is one of the biggest clients you can have in the world. Because of the livestock production in Brazil, it's one of the biggest in the world. But if you cannot make it, you're dead. Your company's dead, not you and you. Your company's dead. So I'm not saying don't do something for the government. I'm saying if you are going to do something for the government, be aware of that. And you're gonna have to live with things like, oh, it's the end of this period, this political period. You have to wait another year, and then when starting next year, the next president and the next minister of agriculture will have power, and then he will have to wait, and then it again changes. You must talk with someone that it's already used to do this, like someone like André, who makes IT solutions for the government. He's the dinosaur, you are the unicorn, right? But he knows a lot about the government. They will be able to tell, well, let's think more deeper about this. until we get deep purple.
When we thought about our solution, it was more of the fact that if we were going to involve the government, we knew that there would be a lot of bureaucracy involved, that it would take a lot of years, and that it would be a big solution. So it's a big solution, because it's a big problem, and we have a lot of things to do, and we have to involve the government, and we know that there's always a problem. So that's why we are thinking now, we're brainstorming to see a way that it would have a short-term solution, so that people would adhere to the thing without it being regulated by the government.
Yes, I think that's a nice idea. Because your idea is great, so is the effort to implement that. It's huge. So we have to always be balancing that. I don't like to be too critical about the innovative ideas, because maybe you can make this happen. Then you go to the stars. The stars are the limit. But it's really a huge effort. So you gotta measure that. You got to balance that and see if it's worth. One thing was not clear for me, and you mentioned it. It was in the headlines, but you did not convince me. Why is it better than the exiting solutions? Could you go back to that slide? Okay. The exit solution, that's that. I think it's cool.
Alright. I think because there is no platform that makes this happen. There is no monitoring livestock. So a platform will make this to stop a little to reduce the use of the antimicrobials.
So you have to communicate that better. In picture or in words, you need to be more convincing when you're presenting your product. Oh, our product's gonna doing this and this and this. A very nice way to do that, it's make a table. Again, a visual table, not with many words, but with signs, green, red, and yellow, or green and red, and you can rank the performance of the different existing solution, and this does this not, this does this not. You rank the criteria, not the criteria, you rank please help me out, Professor Madeira. You rank the characteristics of each product, and then you're gonna say this, our product does this and the others don't, with lights, with colors, green and red. So once you just take a look at the picture, you see that your product's better because does this, and it's green, and the others are red. So you can, at a glance, because everything's going to be fast. You're going to have to convince the audience and the judge in 10 minutes that your product's better, and your existing solution, it is actually better. So you have to communicate visually very well. Okay? I'm keeping repeating that to all the groups because this is very important. I mean, you have to sell your idea better than the others. And sometimes, I'm not saying that I agree with that, but sometimes your idea, it's not the better, it's not the best, but you're able to sell it as if it was the best. So you have to communicate. Okay? Go to the next slide. Oh, we're okay. All right. I like the colors. Purple and yellow, it kind of gives an impact. Okay. Anyone else? Professor Madeira?
Oh, definitely.
I knew it.
Well, yes, especially after you asked me to be really harsh on them, so I'm going to do it. I still have no clue of what your product is.
It's a platform, a system that collects data.
Automatically? something you punch the data in?
Like a farmer have a mobile phone
Mhm.
that when he consumes that type of antibiotic, they will type.
Right, okay.
But if he doesn't want to,
Yeah,
That's the reward
we
system.
our team met before the presentation, and it was kind of funny because we put post-its on the wall, then showing the limitations that we had in our ideas, not only this idea. And one of the limitations that we have was pure adhesion, so that people wouldn't adhere to the product simply because it didn't have a short-term solution for them. So that's why we kind of fall into the government problem, because if the thing doesn't make a short-term solution for them, and if you're thinking about it long-term, the farmer, he would have to reduce the use of antibiotics, and for the farmer that's not really a nice idea. So why would he put his own data there to in the future be restricted to using less antibiotics because he used too much? So that's
It has to be a law.
so that's what it became. It had to be a regulation. It had to be something that would involve the government. So that's our current problem. That's what we showed in the last slide. The short-term solution that would make the farmers be like, oh, okay, this is a good idea. And that's why we thought about the reward system, or something like a top list of farmers that use less antibiotics, because that shows that their meat has less antibiotics, so people would buy more of their meat, you know. So that's our kind of our top two solutions for that kind of problem, but we don't have it definitely yet.
Yeah, but, well, if you think of, especially if you think of pork and poultry, there's one stakeholder that's missing there that is actually great news for you. You don't need the government necessarily. You have the cooperatives and you have the producers associations. Even in Great Britain, I got to know how the system works there for monitoring the consumption of antibiotics. And the people who really do it are the producers associations, the pork producers of England, the poultry producers of this place or other place. So you don't need the government actually, especially if you're thinking of poultry and pork. For beef, that would be a little harder to do, but that's where most of the antibiotics are being used, is in poultry and pork. So you need to include a very important stakeholder, which is the one who's really going to make the system work.
Yeah,
Not the farmer himself, not the government.
like the green team said.
Yeah, we hadn't thought about that, but that's a really good idea.
But I'm still not convinced.
See, you have a hard time. I'm gonna put Professor Madeira in the judge team. And I was going to make another comment. I haven't seen anything about market size already.
It's nice.
Yeah, but it's okay. You don't have it there, but absolutely you need
Yeah,
it.
I need to
By the end of the program, you need to go deeper and deeper in that. And I think that won't be so hard to reach, so hard to find. There's a lot of information and you can do some assumption on that.
Okay.
And what else did I take note here? Yeah, well, I think that's about it. Anyone in the audience wants to make a
Since you
question?
mentioned the commercial side of it, I was just gonna ask, how many units of this product do you think you're gonna be able to sell? A handful maybe, because it's not really a product for the consumer. It's a product for associations, for...
Yes,
So-
we think
You're not
that
gonna make money out of that, are you?
we think that maybe the platform will be
And we think the platform could not only be adhered by Brazil, that was what you meant.
Could be used globally.
more countries could
That's,
be able
No,
to.
that's ambitious, but
I
definitely it's something that you have to think
A
about.
better idea is to get the money not from the product itself.
Please, it's been wrapped.
Oh, I'm sorry, maybe the way to get money from this solution is not by selling the product itself. It's maybe I don't know, just thinking of
A loan, a
apps, for
rental.
example, you have advertisers, you can think
Yes,
of other
we think
things
in
that, getting
an
money.
app.
Alright. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
This is all about business modeling. Business modeling, it's a very important part of the discussion. You cannot just go through it quickly. You have to go deeper and deeper, because business modeling, it's one of the most important part of the innovative product. I mean, why Uber is so famous? Because the business modeling works. You don't have to hire the driver. The driver, it's by himself and it's giving you back money. And it costs less than the taxi driver, the cab driver. So that's why the business model was really well designed. And it opened a new market. So what Professor Madeira said makes sense. You have to think about many other opportunities, not only the government. You might even sell to the government, but you have to think in other options. In our state, cooperative and producer associations are very strong.
Yeah, and
You cannot exclude that.
Marketing it for producer association makes it more easy to
Yeah.
market for the government.
Yeah. Oh,
It
we
makes a lot of
already
sense,
have
yeah.
10 or 100 producers using it in Paraná. Why don't you buy it and to use all over the country?
Yeah.
It could be your beachhead. Right?
Okay.
Thank you very much. That was the purple team.